Ride through the city like Brennan Schaub. I'm on a mission to get it all. Ride through the city like Brennan Schaub. If you ain't thick, please don't get involved.
And now, Brandon Thick Boy Schaub.
Yes, sir. Monday, April 6th. What's up, fam? How is everybody? How was your Easter? Did you hide the eggs for the kiddos? We sure did. Kids love Easter, even though they have no idea the meaning behind it. They think it's a rabbit, and they get a ton of chocolate. And that's how it goes in the Schaub household. It's just how it goes around these parts. You had a UFC fight night, and this has all just been edging us for the big UFC 327. Dude, fight fans, go ahead. Cook them chicken wings, get the cold beers out, get them Diet Cokes popping. Right now, Diet Cherry Coke's my thing. But get all your stuff together because we have a full weekend of actual good fights in combat sports. It kicks off Friday. Friday in the DR, you have Game Bread FC. The heavyweight tournament begins. You have my dumbass on the mic along with the brilliant Jimmy Smith doing the play-by-play. It is going down. Game Bread Fighting Championship, April 10th. The stream starts at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. You got your main event, Anthony the Lionheart Smith versus Chase Sherman, Thiago Santos, Guto Innocente. It is a heavyweight tournament. The winner of each tournament gets $500K. Tournament starts this freaking Friday in the DR. Ends in Miami December 4th. Your boy will also be in Miami. The first two cards, it starts April 10th, like I said, and May 1st. And the huge main event for May 1st will be announced later this week, and it is a fun one. We got some big boys in this bad boy. So again, you got Anthony Smith, Chase Sherman, Thiago Santos, Guto Innocente, the former K1 badass, the freaking won championship kickboxing badass. If I did commentate his last fight, people fighting this dude in bare knuckle are out of their mind, but that is a fun fight with him and Thiago Santos. You also got Ray Cooper, Charles Rosa, Pena's on there. It's a fun freaking card. It's bare knuckle MMA. Boy, is it intense and it's violent. But your boy will be cage side with the great Jimmy Smith. That's this Friday streaming for you guys. Then Saturday. Again, we got a shit sandwich. You had the great UFC fight night in Seattle. You had the fight night this weekend, which wasn't bad. Beat expectations. We'll get into it with Moicano. He looked fantastic. And then, but overall, not great, right? And then you got this weekend, and it is popping because you have UFC 327. Oh, all the fights are fantastic. All of them, top to bottom. Enjoy the show. You also got Tyson Fury fighting on Netflix as well. Your boy Conor Ben is fighting. Zuffa's very own Conor Ben, the $15 million man, is fighting this freaking weekend against Regis Progress, which he's a monster. He's a little monster. That's at a catch weight at 150. But you got Tyson Fury fighting this Russian monster, Makhmudov.
Not bad.
Tyson Fury, just so you guys know, is a pretty sizable favorite. It would be what they call a warm-up fight where I come from. And that would be this. Let's just get Fury back in there, kicking off the dust, kicking that spear tie around his waist around a little bit and getting his big ass in shape, get him in fight shape. But he's a pretty sizable favorite for a reason. So if you're a fight fan, this weekend's popping. Friday, you got Game Bread FC. Saturday, you got UFC 327 and Tyson Fury fighting on Netflix. You're welcome. The Fight God said, you're welcome. UFC 327, top to bottom, is a fantastic card. The fans have been asking for something like this. Now, it has some big key names, all the matchups. It's going to be hard to pick fight of the night, all that stuff. But the ticket sales aren't great in Miami. I think it's because it's definitely more of a hardcore numbered event. So the ticket sales aren't popping yet in Miami. It's not sold out. I'd be surprised if it doesn't sell out. But I also think this is just the state of the current climate the UFC is in. Who would they put on there to really sell the tickets? But if you're a fight fan, man, this is the one you want to buy. This would be, I don't know what the price of tickets are. That's a whole separate issue. But as far as getting there from the first fight is Kelvin Gastelum, Vicente Luque at middleweight. Dude, let's go. You got Tatiana Suarza coming back against Lupi. You got Kevin Holland, Randy Brown. Never miss a Kevin Holland fight. Gamrot's doing the damn thing. Ribovics, that's a great fight. Cub Swanson, Nate Landwehr, take my money. Patricio Pitbull, Aaron Pico, loser goes home. That is a fork in the road fight. That's the Bellator fight. That's all that is. That's, hey, we're both overpaying you. Neither of you have provided really any sort of value. Whoever loses this fight, the exit sign's over there. That's how this fight's going down. You know, I always ride my boy Aaron Pico, coming off that Lerone Murphy loss. All good. But Patricio Pitbull and Aaron Pico have not blown the doors off anyone. And they cost a lot. If you know the UFC model, they can get a contender series guy you've never heard of to fulfill that spot, and they will do exactly that. Paulo Costa, moving up to light heavyweight. If he gets a win, he's right back in the queue to get a title shot, especially in the state of the light heavyweight division. Dominic Reyes, Johnny Walker. Dude, I'm telling you, this one's lining up to get some blood flowing in that light heavyweight division. Get the blood flowing. You got RDR there now. You got Whitaker now. You got these middleweights. You can make a huge statement with just one win to get themselves right back in the title shot. The fight I'm most curious about is Curtis Blaydes, Josh Hokic. Is Josh Hokic the real deal? Too much too soon. Not even ranked in the top 15. Fight number 4 guy who's been in there with some of the very best. Hokic, probably top 3 most athletic guys in the division. Has all the confidence in the world. Undefeated, young cat. Facing Curtis Blaydes, who's been there with the very best. I think he was a JUCO national champ. He's a problem. He's a tough night in the office for anybody, especially a guy with not a ton of experience. But let's see what Josh is made of, man. This is it. They're throwing him straight to the deep end, and it's just to stay the heavyweight division. And then the main event, Yiri versus Carlos Ulberg. This is for the vacant light heavyweight title, right? Because Alex Poatan obviously relinquished his belt, and he's up at heavyweight, which he's fighting in the White House. So there's no current light heavyweight champ. And you got Yuri versus Carlos fighting for that. So it's a great fight stylistically. Now, here's the thing. You're going to look at this, and if you've been around the UFC for a little bit, you're like, man, Yuri's getting old. Is Yuri going to do it? He's fighting this younger guy in Carlos Ulberg. You're wrong. Carlos Ulberg's actually older. Do you know that, Chin?
I didn't know. He's
older with less miles. He's at 2003 Power Stroke 6.0. Great motor. Less miles. But Yuri, even though he has more miles, he's younger. He's newer. There's a lot of miles on him. There's a lot of miles on him.
35 and Yuri's 33.
Yep. But in fight years, he would be older. This one, if you're betting on it, to break this one down, so Yuri can get guys in to mimic Carlos Ulberg. You can get a lot of guys to mimic Carlos Ulberg and his style to get ready for it. Now, the bullets aren't live, but you can mimic as close as you want to get in training for Carlos Ulberg. You can do that. You cannot mimic Yuri. So he's this controlled chaos. He's doing not the most traditional things. His movements are very hard to dictate. But Carlos does hit like a Mack truck. And if he can capitalize on the chaos of Yuri, this fight won't go long. I really think this fight is Carlos to win in the first 2 rounds. If you can't figure out Yuri in the first 2 rounds, Yuri's going to run away with this via decision. That being said, I also think, Yuri is a guy who we've seen has gotten better over the years, over the fights. He's been in bigger fights. If you're going strength of schedule, it's not even close. Yuri's been in 5-round fights. Carlos never gone 5 rounds. He's been, main events, but he's gone 3 rounds. We've never gone 5 rounds. Strength of schedule, my God. The only person that has figured Yiri out would be Poatan. Not the end of the world. All right. So the very best guy to do it beat you twice. You look at strength of schedule, and this isn't even close. You're talking SEC school, Alabama versus a freaking WAC, WAC, Western Athletic Conference champion, where, he looks good. Once they get in that BCS playoff, we don't know how they're going to stack up. But usually those bigger schools with the strength of schedule end up beating that ass. For Yiri, it's going to be, again, I like the unconventional striking, the hands down, the footwork, the in and out. His 2 losses to Poatan, he rushes in, and a guy with traditional high caliber striking can time that and catch him. So I'm sure that's what Carlos Ulberg has been working on, trying to capitalize on Yiri. Now that's only going to work if Yiri fights like a jabroni and flies in and throws caution to the wind and makes some mistakes. I really think with Yiri, and I can relate to it. Yuri I think he has a daughter on the way, or either way he has a kid on the way. His wife's pregnant. I think she's due like 3 days after. So that dad power, that Papa Bear power is going to give Yuri this focus that he's never, ever been able to channel before. That Papa Bear focus, I never bet against the guy with kids like that. Especially if it's their first child. You look at Mike Perry, you look at certain guys, when they have kids, they just kind of mature and don't take the same risks they were going to take before they had children. They really zone in and they know what's on the table, and now they got mouths to feed, and they don't take those same dumb risks. So when you calculate all that, it's tough to bet against Yuri. For the division, though, Yuri's a bigger star, but Carlos Ulberg could use some fresh blood. But again, I think it's going to be we'll see how Ulberg capitalizes on the mistakes Yuri makes, if he makes them. He's a student of the game, and I really think Yuri's going to come in more focused than ever before because of that kiddo on the way. He has the skills. The only time you can really get a read on Yuri is live when Bruce Buffer is sitting cage side the night of the fight. There's no way to mimic his style. That's a tough task. Very tough task. What are the odds on this, Chin?
Show you.
Definitely, I'm not going to be surprised if Ulberg wins in any facet, but I'm definitely in favor of Yuri in this. -125, +105. In MMA, that's even money, basically, but damn, Josh Hokett's a +102. Curtis Blaydes a -122. Good Lord. This is how good this card is. Freaking card is. Your main event is basically a pick 'em. Your co-main event, which Joshua Van's out, right? Yeah. And they put him on the next card. Was it 328 with Strickland Hamzat? This is 327, so that'll be 328 in May. So you have Strickland Hamzat. Now your co-main event's Joshua Van. I'm not mad at it. Dominic Reyes, Johnny Walker, -130, +110. Again, this is basically even money. Paulo Costa has a tough fight. Azamat is a monster. Is a monster. Aaron Pico -325. That is ballsy. Off of what? You're assuming he's going to mature and not rush in and make dumbass mistakes. And it's a very heavy-handed pit bull. My word. No one's been on Pico's nuts more than me. I love me some Aaron Pico. I still think he can do it. I still think the kid has such a huge upside. We gotta hone in on not making these dumbass mistakes, especially at a high level, like against a Leron Murphy, against these other guys, against a Patricio Pitbull. He can do it. He has the right camp around him with Greg Jackson. He can do it. But my God, take my bias out of it. If I'm a better +260 Pitbull, that's good money, Daddy. That's good money. Cub Swanson, Nate Landwehr, plus 102, minus 120. That's even money MMA. Gamrot, Ribovics, minus 170, plus 142. That means they're favoring Gamrot. Kevin Holland, Randy Brown, plus 102, minus 122. That's even money. Tatiana Suarez, minus 155. Kelvin Gaslam's a minus 230 over Luque.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Whoa. You're telling me you're not going to fucking parlay Vicente Luque and Patricio Pitbull, the two dogs? Because to me, those are toss-ups. That's worth a bet, fellas and ladies, if you're betting. But just looking at the odds, that's how you can tell how great of a card this is. It's so good, dude. It's so good. It's so good. I'll be in the DR. I'll be in the DR during this fight. That's all good. I'll give my exact picks on Thursday's show. Clearly, I'm going to be biased, but I'll give you more of an in-depth breakdown Thursday's show. But boy, Patricio Pitbull and Curtis Blaydes being that big of an underdog.
And Kelvin Gastelum and Vicente, too.
Man, again, take who I think is going to win out of it. But if you just want to win money, you want to throw 100 on the dogs, I'd go Curtis Blaydes, Patricio Pitbull, and Vicente Luque.
Yeah.
Not saying they're going to win, but your chances of making good money, that's it. That's not a bad three-man parlay. I can see all three of them winning. Are they going to win? I don't know. They're dogs for a reason, but they're dogs, good dogs to bet on. All right, what do you got, Jen? Oh, we even get into Moicano.
Yeah.
So Moicano was the main event on the Apex card on Saturday. Dude, I couldn't love Moicano anymore when he got on the mic. Did you hear him?
Yeah.
He's like, what the fuck is this? Does nothing for me. Were we Moicano in the Apex Center? What the fuck are we doing? He's like, don't tell Dana. Don't tell Dana that. But he's right. He's right. He's like, this does nothing for my legacy. My fairy goes, this does nothing for my legacy, nothing for my YouTube. No one knows who the fuck Chris Duncan is. Dangerous guy. He takes him out. This was actually supposed to be to put Chris Duncan on the map. You know, I think the UFC was like, all right, Moicano had his run, fought for the title against Makhachev. He's kind of, used goods now. Let's build up Chris Duncan. And Moicano said, not so fast. Show me the money. Mm-hmm. And did the damn thing. He's right back in it. Moicano, I would do Moicano. Let me see the rankings.
Yeah.
He's right, though. He's like, what the fuck is this? I'm in an Apex. There's 50 people watching. My name's Money Moicano. That's what I'm telling you, Moicano. I know we got into it over you giving up the lawsuit money, with the fighter pay.
Yeah.
I get it, but no. This is them doing you a favor. They went, Moicano did give up the antitrust money. Let's make him a main event at Apex. He'll love that. Like, they're never going to take care of you, Bubba. That's what I'm saying. Get your money. Show me the money. And they showed it, and you're like, I'm good. But this is them thinking they're doing you a solid, Moicano. They gave you a main event on the Apex against Duncan. To your point, Moicano, like, that ain't where you're at, dog. You're a big fish. You're one of the best personalities in the UFC, and you can fight your ass off. You just beat the young lion they wanted to put on the map. So what's next for him? I would go Moicano, Dan Hooker. I'll go Moicano, Dan Hooker on a numbered event. Mm-hmm. You can make that co-main event. Or they should really pay him back for turning down that antitrust lawsuit money and give him Paddy Pimblett. Give him a big dog. Give him a big fish. Think of that buildup. That'd be a great fight.
Yeah.
Moicano, Paddy Pimblett? Come on. He gave up that money. This Apex, buddy, this ain't it. You got to hook our boy up here. You got to hook him up. Moicano, Paddy Pimblett, if they love him, and then shoot for the stars. Maybe you land on something a little less. I'm not saying Dan Hooker's not a big fight, but I'm saying Paddy Pimblett's kind of the golden egg right now, the golden goose there. All right, let's take a little break from chatting all the things Real Housewives of the UFC. Picture this. It's late at night. You're scrolling through your feeds when all of a sudden you see it. That one item that you've been looking for, you click on the link, add to cart, maybe even shop around a little more before finally hitting checkout. As you're filling in your address, you realize you don't have your card anywhere near you. You're all cozy in bed. Like, what am I going to do? That's when you see it, that purple pay button that has all of your information saved, making checking out as simple tap on your screen. Cha-ching. That's thanks to Shopify. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S. from household names like Drive Fast on Gas. All the big dogs are doing it to brands just getting started, man. Shopify's everywhere. I use that purple Shopify button. I buy so many car parts. It shows up. I'm like, oh, that was a little too easy. Probably should start cutting down spending on all this car stuff. Getting started with your own design studio with hundreds of ready-to-use templates. Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store that matches your brand style. Get the word out like you have a marketing team right behind you. Easy create email, social media campaigns whenever your customers are scrolling or strolling. Best yet, Shopify is your commerce expert with world-class expertise in everything from managing inventory to international shipping to processing returns and beyond. They got 24/7 customer support. We got you guys. See less carts go abandoned and more sales go cha-ching with the Shopify and the Shop Pay button. Sign up for your $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/Schaub, all lowercase SCHAUB. That's go to shopify.com/Schaub. That's shopify.com/Schaub. Cha-ching. Let's get back to the program. McConnell looked great, though.
Yeah. Did you see that part where when he actually got caught, Duncan? So Duncan was like, obviously Moicano had his back. He had his, control.
Yeah.
And then you could hear Duncan's coach like, surprise elbow, right? And then he finally does it, and then Moicano just sinks him. Yeah. That sucks, dude.
Yeah, coach is fucked up on that one. But again, this card didn't blow your socks back, but the overall, if you like fighting, it was a fun one to watch. I watched from the first prelim. They were good, man. Ethan Ewing looked fantastic. The body punch. Good card.
Yeah.
Good card. All right, what do you got, Jen?
Okie, let's go. All right, so also over the weekend was Deontay Wilder versus Derek Chisora.
And Deontay Wilder, the craziest thing about this was going into the fight, the most of the talk was him using towels and busting ropes on his girl's stomach. That was the hype for this card. But you watch the card and you're like, we need Wilder in this world, man.
Yeah.
You need a big person. There's not a ton of big personalities in boxing. You need Wilder. Like, let's get this guy back in there. You watch it. It wasn't the most technical fight. It was very entertaining.
It was.
Very, very entertaining.
Yeah.
And when I saw it, I'm like, I feel like Francis Ngannou could beat him. I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, fuck around and find out. I feel like Francis could get that fight after this Netflix card.
And that would be so exciting. Just two guys just slugging it out.
Such a good fight.
Yeah.
Because they're talking about Deontay and Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua was in the tunnel when Deontay's walking by. He's talking shit to him. I guess.
Yeah.
That ain't an easy fight for Anthony either. He does get hit. And if Wilder hits you, you're in trouble.
Here's the meeting between him and Joshua.
Let's do it. He's scared as fuck. Let's do it.
You're saying he's scared as fuck.
I don't think he's scared as fuck. I think, Deontay has one foot out the door and Anthony's like, But I could see them doing it. Because Tyson's taking one, right? Basically like a ring rust fight this weekend on Netflix. Wilder, Joshua would be a good technically warm-up fight for Joshua, but that is a scary fight for Joshua. A lot on the line. You lose that one, then fucking the Fury fight's out the door, Personally, and just being selfish, fruit fly, just being selfish is I would like to see Ngannou, Deontay Wilder.
Yeah, it's just going to be so much fun.
Chaos. That thing ain't going fucking 6 rounds. Not even close. 6-0 in that bad boy.
You want to see this real quick? This is just the highlight of the best round of the fight, which is like I think it was eight.
Do you see when he's rocking him? He goes, "I love you, man."
And then goes, that's when he did. That's what he did right before he actually knocked him down. So I mean, I think he really does believe he could destroy. You remember he's even said it like after the fight. It's like I didn't want to hurt him too bad. You know, he has a family to go home to. And it's like you're gonna fight though.
Wilder hits so hard.
But it's just like a street fight.
It's almost like he's almost hitting with this.
Yeah.
And he's just like, because Francis has that different power. I think this would be such a win for Francis. Because Wilder trade. Mm-hmm. You trade with Francis, you're in fucking trouble, man.
That was the lovey one, so you can see it better here. And boom, he goes down.
So I'm sorry, I love when this drops him. Don't let him too much.
Yeah. This one's a weird one. I don't know if you saw this online yet. Jon was in, they call it it is a road rage incident, but nothing happened, thankfully.
He didn't seem upset. When I first saw, I was like, this looks kind of suspect.
I thought the same thing.
I know you would.
Fake, yeah.
I know you were. So me and my brother going back and forth, and I was like, man, it almost seems fake, like set up. And Jay was like, nah, the kid posted a thing too, talking shit about it.
Well, here's the altercation part where Jon actually, I guess Jon followed him to a parking lot.
Little Caesar's parking lot.
Okay.
Get into. You're almost fucking hitting me, bro.
He's in a Raptor.
Looks like it.
Is that Gen 2 Raptor?
You gotta calm down, bro.
Yeah, bro, you gotta learn how to drive, bro.
You gotta relax yourself, bro.
You're almost hitting me with your truck, bro. You're almost hitting me, bro. What the fuck?
Do you think you recognize as Jon Jones?
In my fucking lane and shit, bro. Come on. Trying to get into.
I think everyone does at this point. If you're a dude in
Did you
this
say
world,
what you're trying to get into? John's like, whatever you want, sir.
Yeah.
And then also, now this is all speculation that he had a gun in there. But if I'm in Albuquerque, I'm probably carrying a gun if I'm Jon getting out of the car. Mm-hmm. Because it's not like if dude's down to pull over. In Texas, especially Albuquerque, you got to assume they have a gun.
And this is his post, the dude that actually... This is what made it look so fake.
Pickup truck swerved 3 times into my lane, almost hits my Nissan 1.8 OSX. So I flip him off, then this happens.
Well, you also pulled over, Bubba.
What, bro? Trying to get into. You're almost.
Did you say what you're trying to get into? I love it.
Anyways, we saw the video already.
What you trying to get into? I don't know. What do you want to do? And people are like, "Yo, Jon should be better than this. Should he? Or was this guy being a dick driving, and then there's no repercussions for acting like an asshole? And then when you want to fuck around and find out, and you get the baddest man on the planet get out of his fucking Gen 2 Raptor, ew. Oh, I'm not tough. Oh no, I'm not tough."
Yeah, it's all over the place, but nothing really happened. And I remember there was a statement that Jon made, like something like, "I'm just thankful."
I think it was not an old lady or something.
Yeah.
An old lady's not going to pull over.
Yeah. But it's just like, it's so insane to me that it just never stops. There's something that happens in the news, and it's always a negative thing with Jon Jones.
I don't think this is negative.
I mean, dude, if you've been in that much trouble before, you got to stay out of road rage. You have to.
This one's just, this is just God doing justice here. So, are you tough? This is 90% of the world. Oh, fuck that guy. I would fuck him up. No, you wouldn't.
No,
you're not.
the guys kept going too, though.
No, you're not. He goes, "What are you trying to do?" He should have got. I'm like, "Oh shit, Jon. Whoa, bub. My bad." What else you got, Chinster?
Okay, this here is Max Kellerman, and it looks like, I don't know if this is Big Boy's neighborhood, but it's Big Boy at a radio station.
Yeah, he's
Max
on.
Kellerman.
He's on his own now.
Oh, okay. So Max Kellerman just talking about boxing and MMA, and I'm sure it's going to sound very familiar.
What's your favorite sport? I would say football.
Probably basketball.
Okay. I'm boxing and MMA. Boxing, right? Wrong. All your favorite sports are boxing. I'll prove it to you, or MMA. You got it right. I'll prove it to you in 60 seconds. Ready? Mm-hmm. You come to a street corner. On one corner, kids are playing stickball. On the other corner, they're playing a pickup game of basketball. On the fourth corner, they're playing some football. They're throwing the football around. On the fourth corner, there's a fist fight. Where's the crowd? What is the crowd watching? Are any of you watching anything other than the fight?
Right.
Okay. So the question is, why? Why is the fight?
Can you
more
imagine
compelling?
coming out of a concert like, man, they started a football game last night?
So then the question is why? What I said before. Everything else you think is your favorite sport is a metaphor for the imposition of will. Exactly. Fighting is literal imposition of will. It's more compelling. What's your favorite sport?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember Dana White always saying the same kind of line.
Yeah,
and Max is like very influenced by Dana White.
Yeah, Max is a wordsmith. Yeah, he's right.
Yeah,
he's right.
It is true.
Yeah, fighting's in our DNA. It's in our DNA. It's like may the best man win.
And it's just for whatever reason, it's just we want to see a damn fight. It's just so intriguing, you know.
Everyone understands a fight, like because Tiger started playing football. My wife, they were never really into football. I don't know, it's boring. Then because you got to learn the rules, you know. There's a lot that goes into it. Baseball, I didn't get into it till my son started playing. You got to learn the rules, learn the players, all that stuff. The tendencies, the fundamentals, there's a lot that goes into it. Basketball, same, a lot that goes into it. Fighting, all of us been in a fight. You're like, yeah, that guy wants to hit that guy wants to hit that guy. Let's see what happens. It's very animalistic. It's in our DNA to fight.
And also, I think it's just the consequences are crazy. Like if you lose a sport, it's you lost a game. This guy could potentially die, get really hurt or something. So
but you
like,
also understand it. Like you also understand
how understanding's a big part of it
like,
too. Yeah.
Even kids understand it. You know, they're like, oh, okay. If he lands, he wins. If he lands, it's very simple.
And all right, so this Dana White just saying flat out that he doesn't have anything to do with negotiating.
Told ya. Told ya.
Alrighty.
Things like that. Yeah, and obviously it's grown. I have completely removed myself from the negotiating part of fighter contracts. You know, I got to a point where this isn't fun anymore, man. I'm lucky that I'm at a point in my life and in my career where I can just deal with the fun stuff that I like to do. So
yeah.
But yeah,
all the time.
You know, things like that. Yeah, and obviously it's grown. I have completely removed myself from the negotiation.
Yeah, and Dana's right. He's lucky enough and he did the work where he doesn't have to do that part of the gig anymore. Mm-hmm. Here's where it's an issue, and this is why you see where the UFC's at currently. So Dana built it. You know what? It's kind of like you can name so many. I'm going to relate to the car space, right? That's what I like. That's what I watch. Donut was massive. Hoonigans was massive. I mean, you're talking creme de la creme when it comes to car content on YouTube. Massive. They got so big that the corporate got attention and was like, well, we want these eyeballs. We want this fan base. And then they sold. And then what you loved when you started watching Donut or Hoonigans, they got away from that. Corporate gets involved, and then it's about the bottom dollar, maximizing dollars, maximizing the revenue, and it goes away from the creators of the show, and then you have corporate suits who are like, yeah, the views might be down, we're selling less merch, but we're making more money because we've cut spending, we've cut the talent, we've cut the staff, you know, so it changes the dynamics of what made it great. Going over to the UFC, say what you want about Dana. Say what you want about the Fertittas. Sean Shelby, Joe Silva, Reed Harris, who some of them are still involved in it, but they don't have the same influence they used to have. But all those gentlemen that I mentioned had a passion and knew fighting. Dana knows fighting like a motherfucker. He's the best promoter of all time. Now you take him out of it and you're starting to realize that, oh shit, he actually was pretty important to this thing. Because now you have the suits making the matchups. And why are the suits making the matchups? Well, they have to fulfill 40 plus fights a year. You're getting the contender series guys who aren't of name value, but they're cheaper. And so you're getting these fluff cards like you had at the Apex. They're realizing like, man, we don't need to go to Miami. We don't need to go to T-Mobile Arena anymore. We don't need to go to Madison Square Garden in order to maximize the equity of the stock that our shareholders have. We can continue to do fights at the Apex without a crowd or a very limited crowd. We can continue to put on fights that the casuals don't know, the hardcores really aren't into, but we're still profiting because we did this 7-year deal. So it's basically, this is the definition of selling out. The UFC was that band that you loved, and they were kind of a regional thing, and you knew how special they were, and it started to grow, and it got really cool, and you're happy to see their success. And remember when they signed with, it was a big deal. It was a big deal when they signed with Fuel TV, when they signed with Spike TV. They were like, oh my God, I can't believe it, dudes. We're going mainstream. And Kenny Florian's on Oprah. And then the Ultimate Fighter blows this thing up, and you're calling your buddies like, dude, remember when we used to watch the UFC, the Denver one, and Hoist Gracie? Dude, look at this. And then it becomes this thing, and it was our thing. And then slowly the sharks start to circle. The sharks start to get involved, these money sharks. And then it's like, oh, they're going to Fox. Oh shit, they're on Fox. This is crazy. And then they're on Fox. And then you see all the content on Fox, and they're getting more fans, and they're doing this. And then you slowly start to see there's red flags. There's red flags. Oh, the individual fighter with the sponsors, we're actually going to do a Reebok deal. Wait, uniforms? Yeah, it's actually better for you. Everyone goes, yeah, it's better for you. Yeah, this is cool. Now there's no individual fighters. They can't express themselves, but it's a uniform. Yeah, but it's less money for the fighters. And then Dana goes, but all these fighters had an issue, getting paid from the sponsors. I never had any issue in my entire 10-year career. Never. But all these guys tell me they have issues, so this eliminates that. So the casuals go, this is actually better. And they're like, okay, that's a little weird. Oh, they're on ESPN now. Oh, shit, Stephen A. Smith is there. Don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Stephen A. Smith is there. And they're doing this. And you're kind of like, okay. All right, it's getting a little weird. And then the suit's really coming. Endeavor buys it. TKO buys it, right? And Dana starts to take a back seat. And the message is, dude, we've never been better. We're worth more than we've ever been. We just sold for $7.7 billion, the TV right deals. This is great. More fights for you guys. Everyone's like, right. But how would you feel if when they made the announcement of $7.7 billion TV right deal with Paramount, if underneath that there's an asterisk said, but Dana White is no longer in charge and no longer making the main decisions? You go, oh, that's who is? Shapiro, Hunter Campbell. Shapiro, the guy that worked with the fucking theme parks to monetize, to get their bottom line up? The guy that worked for the Redskins? Yeah. What's you know about fighting? Absolutely nothing. Oh, that's not good. So to wrap this all up is Dana has been telling you guys kind of, he's not going to, I don't think he can. He's not coming out and be like, hey, I'm completely out of this, man. But the writing's on the wall, the matchups that you're seeing, the cards that you're getting. Of course, we'll still watch it, but the hardcores, you're hanging on to something that will never come back. So you just got to take it for what it is. Now, I could get on here every Monday and every Thursday and complain nonstop. That's not fun. I can talk about the old days and how the cards are so much better and the divisions and how there's more stars and they would build stars. Those days are so done. Those days are so over. And even though Dana has his flaws, he was the lifeline behind the UFC. It was Dana, it was Joe Silva, it was Sean Shelby, McMaynard's still there, Ed Harris is there, but the people that made this company great are taking a back seat because the suits are in control now, and they care about the bottom dollar. It's a business. It's a complete business now, unfortunately. So you'll see this stuff, and the reason Dana's throwing us out. And Dana's a smart dude. The reason Dana's throwing us out is because he knows the UFC is a shell of what it used to be. Profit-wise, it's making more money than ever. That's the suits. But as far as doing what the fans have suggested or that they want, Dana used to listen to that stuff. In some regard, he would get, I think Dana ate a lot of crow when he goes, the White House card's gonna be the best card ever. It's gonna be UFC Noches on steroids or the Sphere on steroids. It's gonna be our best card ever. It would have been if Dana had the control and could have made the matchups that he wanted to do. Dana is a closer. I tell you this all the time. Coffee's for closers. There's no closers involved at the UFC right now. There's just that none of them should be drinking fucking black coffee. I told you this. So I would assume Dana, if they can't negotiate with Conor, I assume Dana might step in, let me talk to him. Because he's the last of the Mohicans. He's the last of the big stars that are left. There's this old roster of certain guys that can draw eyeballs, and they like dealing with Dana. They don't want to deal with the suits. And that's why those suits aren't closing. They have no connection. They don't give a fuck. They have no connection. They don't realize the value that a Jon Jones brings, that a matchup of Poatan Jon Jones would do for the fan base. They don't realize that, yes, he's had his issues outside of the octagon, but Conor McGregor, there's a lot of us holding on to that. They want to see him fight one more time. That doesn't mean anything to them because they have no context. They weren't around when Conor was coming up. They don't realize that Jon's regarded as the greatest fighter of all time. They have no concept of any of that. They're looking at this and they're going, well, Jon's last one sold 400,000 pay-per-views. He wants 30 million. They don't realize, nor do they care.
Yeah.
So it's become so corporate now. And now some of us are blamed for this, including myself. A lot of us man, we want to be up there with the big dogs. MLB, NBA, NFL, soccer. We're just as big. We want to be one of the top 5 in the world. Be careful what you ask for because you got it. You got it. And how's it going? How's it going? You know? And Dana's throwing out these nuggets without throwing, I don't think he technically can contractually. He's throwing out these Dana knows the fight game. He knows all the shit the UFC's getting these days. He's seeing all of it. You're crazy. Even Ronald goes, Dana knows how shit that White House card is. Around his buddies, I bet Dana's God, dog, they're fucking this up. But again, it's not I gave the keys. I gave the keys to this other corporation, and they don't view it the same way as I do. It will never be what it was. It's all good. Your favorite band is now fucking Nickelback. Well, they're selling, but you remember them in the garage. You remember them at those small shows, those small venues. You remember how cool their merch used to be. You remember the great songs they'd put out for the fans. Do the special, they'd go the extra for the fans. Those days are done. All good.
Yeah, because we're still going to watch.
Oh, yeah. I still love it.
Mm-hmm. Did you, by the way, I don't know why that made me think of, that's why, because you were saying Dana might chime in every now and then with big deals. Like Conor McGregor, he might chime in. or they might go to him for help. I remember back in the day, UFC fighters just said that when they had issues with Dana White,
You go to the Fertitas.
yeah, that was exactly what I was going to ask you. Did you ever had any conversations with the Fertitas?
I didn't need to. Me and Dana really never had any issues till after I stepped away. But before that, like we would negotiate with Joe Silva, and then if he was kind of being a prick about it, we would go to Dana. And Dana was always cool. He would get it done. Dana's a closer. So I knew that the writing was on the wall when it's like, well, where's Poton John? And now Dana's taking all the flack, like, man, you were glazing Jon Jones, now we're not getting it. And Dana contractually can't say this, but he should be like, if he's telling the truth, if he wanted to get real on him, he'd be like, it's out of my control, man.
Yeah.
Trust me, I wanted it too. So that's why it seemed like we were never in negotiations. The suits are, well, you weren't. And technically that's true. Dana probably was never in negotiations. But Hunter Campbell was. The UFC suits were. So when Dana goes, I was never in negotiations with him, he's not lying. They never reached out to me. I would have got it done.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, of all people, he would get it done.
He gets it done.
The big ones, yeah.
Yep.
Well, it's interesting that you bring this up because this guy, I don't know how to pronounce it, Keon.ig, he made this video about Hunter Campbell, and I'll just play it for
Now,
you.
but before you play it, now also let me say this too, is we don't know, no one really does. We don't know the inner workings of the UFC right now. Listen, 8-10 years ago, I could tell you what everyone's job was. It's very clear, once you go corporate, you're dealing with certain identities that we don't know. Like it's probably a chain of command, right? Because it's a big business now, it's a big corporation now. So I do think it's unfair to solely throw Hunter Campbell under the bus. Because again, he can't technically say this, legally say this, but I'm sure he's like, dude, you don't think I was trying to fucking sign Jon Jones too? But these suits won't do it. They won't give me the budget. I can't do it. But he's taking the brunt of the heat for not giving us the fight we want to see. Let me see this.
Yeah.
Is ruining the UFC. So if you don't know who Hunter Campbell is, he is the ventriloquist doll-looking guy that is basically the new Dana White, as he is responsible for matchmaking and contract negotiations. And honestly, this guy is already fucking things up for the UFC. The first time I was really made aware of him was when that video came out of him trying to convince Aljamain Sterling to fight Sean O'Malley, despite Aljo being against it, as he was still injured from his last fight, and the 3-month turnaround to the fight with Sean was going to be too quick. But despite this, Hunter pressured him to take the fight, and ultimately it led to Aljo's demise. And since then, he has been creating matchups that I would deem as could have been an email fight, as most of these main events for the numbered cards are fights that are clearly not the best fighting the best, which is something that Dana used to be a strong proponent of. Nowadays, Dana's heart lies more with Zuffa boxing, which is giving Hunter more control as a matchmaker, and because of this, the UFC is in the worst place that it has ever been. But what do you think? Hunter Campbell is ruining the UFC.
I think it's easy to pick, and this is what people do. I get it. I've put a lot of pressure on Hunter too, but I bet if you talk to Hunter, he's like, yeah, man, I wish it was just me because it's be an easy fix. I can give you the fight you guys want to see, but it's a machine now. It's not just me. They give me a list of 10 fighters and like, here's who's in the budget. We don't give a fuck about rankings, what you want to see, most exciting. We don't give a fuck about it. Here's who's in the budget for this card. Go ahead and make it happen.
Yep.
That's what I think is happening.
Yeah, without a doubt. 7.7 bill. There's people that
they have the money.
That's what I'm saying, but that's why they have to be like, all right, well, the upper guys want to do this, and fuck it, do it. You know? But yeah, I like the individuality before.
We all do.
The subtle nuances. Even
Those
like
days are
their
gone.
favorite, Chuck Liddell's ice shorts.
Rich Franklin's fucking pink shorts.
Exactly.
Ortiz flame shorts.
Yeah, the flame shorts. I loved all that stuff.
It was dope.
This was kind of cool. So Conor McGregor, I guess it was sort of a surprise at the Crumlin boxing.
Ooh, this is how you know it's getting real.
The Crumlin Boxing Club, but he came in there to do an exhibition boxing match for like 3 rounds with I don't even know who the opponent was, but he looked pretty good. Hold on. Why is there a chick there?
Gearing up.
It was a 3-round boxing match in Ireland. He scored 2 standing 8 counts.
Yeah. Shaking off the dust.
It's just cool too that he actually did that because all the kids are there and stuff,
it's great.
so it's dope.
Yeah.
All right. So Mayweather, this has been going on for a little bit. So initially, do you remember when we first talked about it? Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao are supposed to do an actual fight, a professional fight.
Yeah, but so Floyd wanted to be an exhibition, and Manny was like, "Nah, man, it's a real fight."
And then it was kind of like blurry from that point on. And then essentially they gave Mayweather the money, right, in advance to do the professional fight, and now he's backing out or something like that. So now he's in breach of contract.
Let me see. So it says, this is the Mac Life. It says Floyd Mayweather is apparently trying to change his rematch with Manny Pacquiao from a professional bout to an exhibition. It's because he doesn't want a loss on his record, I assume. And as such, in breach of his contract. According to Jaws Mather, Mayweather has already taken out an advance on his pay for the bout after signing 3 contracts confirming the date, location, and intent to have a fight go on his record. Oof.
Yep.
So it says here, Floyd Mayweather signed not 1, not 2, but 3 different agreements on 3 different dates. He received money for all 3 agreements when he signed them. Not only that, but he also was taking out advance on his purse for his fight against Pacquiao. Eesh. Yeah, I don't know. I wish him best of luck.
Okay. And let's see. Oh, it's more of the same stuff. So I just saw this while I was scrolling through Instagram when you were in the bathroom. So Darren Till is now a free agent, so he can go anywhere he wants.
Oh, Darren Till's going to be fighting an MVP. Not this one in May, but if they decide to pursue it after, dude, you wouldn't watch Darren Till Diaz?
He's a hot commodity now. Dude, he's been winning outside of the UFC.
No, Darren Till's a success story. He's one of the guys. Remember, he didn't get cut. He decided to leave to rehab his knee and do all that stuff. And now he's been on a fucking tear.
Yeah, let's see what he says.
Got a really big announcement to make. I've parted ways with Misfits on really good terms. I'm thankful for the 12 months I had with them and the 3 fights I had, became champion. As I said, on extremely good terms, got nothing but love for Misfits and the owners and promoters and stuff like that, and all the people who work behind the scenes. It's time to try my hand at something else. Not a lot of people wanted to fight me. It was getting really hard to get fights. So in the next few days, I'm going to have a massive announcement, some massive news. I'm sure you're all going to be excited to see what I'm going to announce. And I just want to say again, thanks for Misfits, thanks for everyone involved. And I'll probably be back there soon as well. This is not the end of it with Misfits. Peace and love.
Yeah, I root for Darren Till. I love seeing him succeed. I think he should sign with Eddie Hearn.
Makes good sense, yeah.
Yeah.
You think he wants to pursue more the boxing side or just maybe go back into MMA?
Cool. Get Eddie Hearn.
I know,
and then you could do Netflix MVP, Nate Diaz, Darren Till, just boxing. Nate would be down for that. Him and Mike Perry, that's a great one.
They've always been messing around with each other back and forth, yeah.
He's going to go big game hunting. That's what he's doing. Misfits, it's tough. He did his thing there, got some experience in there, but now he's like, Misfits, thank you. It's time to big game hunt. That's what he's doing.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he should be doing.
I thought this was funny too. I saw this pop up. It says, this is from MMA Fighting, and you popped up in it. It says, Brendan Schaub comes to the defense of Daniel Cormier against Nate Diaz. And then they gave you like a little bit of a quote here.
Yeah, the quote is, Nate Diaz will never make it to the Hall of Fame as an individual fighter.
Yeah, so that's kind of like, you said a lot more than that on the episode. So
I know. I could have told you this was going to happen. I get why they do it. Yeah, I mean, I don't get why that's an issue, because all I'm doing is responding to what Nate said about DC.
Yeah, which was not true at all.
Yeah, not true at all. But then also it's like this. So people will be like, "Oh, Schaub, you're not making the Hall of Fame." Yeah, no shit. But the question is him making fun of DC and making fun of him for crying in a world
And not
championship
being a real fighter?
fight.
What the
Yeah. But again, this is expected with the current climate we're in. It's how people get clicks and all this shit. But Nate Diaz will make the Hall of Fame. He'll make the UFC Hall of Fame, again, not as his individual accomplishments, which is still huge to make the Hall of Fame. I don't want to say it's not easy because we don't know how they decide, when they decide. Nate will be in the Hall of Fame for his Conor McGregor fights, maybe some for his other fights. I don't need to come to the defense of DC. Anybody that knows the game, the sport of MMA, knows how ridiculous it is. That being said, what Nate Diaz is doing to market himself in the fight is brilliant, because he gets on Theo Von's pod and he's shitting on DC, shitting on Poirier, shitting on all these guys. Charles Oliveira, that's my belt. All that, and it creates this build, and it keeps his aura going. So what he's doing is brilliant. I have no issues with it. What he said about me, no issue. This isn't my career compared to Nate Diaz. Obviously, people want to make it that, which is silly as fuck. Yeah. So I mean, what Nate Diaz is doing and to mark himself is what Nate always does. I expect nothing less. It's always worked for him. It's all good. It's all good. I bet DC doesn't respond to this.
I mean, he made that one video initially, so he's already done.
I bet that's it.
Yeah. These are just rumored fights. It's not 100% guaranteed yet. So Robert Whittaker versus Ozdemir.
Great fight.
And this is July 25th.
You're going to get a lot of middleweights coming up trying to make the name because light heavyweight's kind of a free man's land right now.
Yeah. And what do you think? This is also not 100%. Sanhagen versus Talbot.
Interesting.
It says UFC 330, International Fight Week.
I'm not mad at it. Talbot looked fantastic.
Isn't that like way too much for Talbot right now, though?
Couldn't be a worse matchup for Talbot. But he's kind of, he's maturing fast. He's between fights. He's getting a lot better. That one fight, the dude kept taking him down. Then his rest of the next fight got so much better against Cejudo. Corey Sanhagen can be a different animal for him. It's a fun matchup. For Corey, being ranked number 4, he was trying to shoot for Sugar Sean. It's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. Take out the young cat right now, who has a lot of momentum, fan favorite.
Do you think Corey would want that? Like, actually, really want
Corey's
that?
a fighter's fighter, so Corey will take it.
Yeah.
Corey don't fuck around. He's one of the last real fighters.
Gotcha. Should we jump into some fan questions?
Let's do some fan questions. Just so we announced this on Friday's show, but so people keep asking, how do we submit fan questions? I post to send me fan questions in my DMs on Sunday, but it's DMs or you put it in the latest episode in the YouTube comments. So we have both. Did we get some from YouTube on here?
Yeah, I picked some.
Let's start with the YouTube ones.
Okay.
So on Mondays, we still do fan questions. On Thursdays, we'll do a few, and then so they're all new fan questions on Sunday. We do the remaining questions, and those get posted on Sunday for you guys. But again, best way to do it, where we'll for sure see them, is in the YouTube comments. Put them all in the YouTube comments, or worst case, just DM me the questions.
Pluto TV has thousands of free movies and TV shows.
We're coming at you with everything we got.
This is the mindset. Free. This is the mantra. Free. This is the mindset. With movies like Pineapple Express, the entire Star Trek film franchise, and Gladiator, and TV shows like Survivor, SpongeBob SquarePants, The Fairly Odd Parents, and Ghosts, Pluto TV is always free. Huzzah! Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.
All right, let's jump to these fan questions. We'll start with the YouTube ones first. Again, if you want to submit your questions, the easiest way for us to see them is the YouTube. This from @Sean Belasau. Bro, for the who you should face in RAF question, I think we had that question last week. It should be you versus Cain Velasquez. With the whole history of the famous Rogan talk, I think you'd be surprised, quote, you'd bring so many eyeballs.
I love this. By the way, I love this idea. I don't know how you feel about it.
Yeah, I would be down. Tough tough task. Talking about a Division I wrestler.
No, but everyone expects Kane to win, so it's not like a huge pressure.
Yeah, but Kane just coming out of prison too. Like, not too many people gonna be rooting for your boy here. Like, who wants to see Kane lose after doing a stint in fucking Shawshank,
But you would show so much respect. I mean, it would just be
I love
fun
Kane.
competition.
I would be down. It'd be a tough fucking matchup,
Yeah,
but I'd be
course.
down. Yeah, I'd be down. That's hilarious.
Once again, just top.
At Dean McDill 8784, MMA fan question. With Alex Poton being the first fighter to go for a triple champ status, it got me. We got this one too on my DM.
So it's the last part that I kind of thought was different, or was it not?
Yeah, so MMA fan question with Poton being the first fighter to go for triple champ status got me thinking about when Conor beat Eddie Alvarez to become the first double champ. Shortly after this fight, him and Woodley, who was the 170-pound champ at the time, were going back and forth, and Conor had mentioned they were in talks for a bout before ultimately decided to fight Floyd Mayweather, and they have a long layoff from MMA. If the Conor that had just beaten Eddie had moved up to 170 pounds and fought Woodley, could Conor have been the first triple champ? Keep in mind this would have been just before Woodley would go into lose to Usman and then further losing streak before leaving the UFC. Yes, love it. I do like Conor's chances, especially that version of Conor. Even though Woodley with his takedowns, it could be an issue, but on the feet, he couldn't touch that Conor, that prime Conor. Like, Conor's prime was something to behold. I'm with you. I think Conor could have been the first ever triple crown champ. He could have done it, but this all goes to prize fighting. So for Conor's legacy, he probably should have done exactly what you're expressing here. He should have become the first triple crown champion. He should have been the 45, 55, and 70-pound champion for his legacy. It'd never be done before. He beat Woodley, beat Eddie Alvarez, beat Jose Aldo. It's the greatest run of all time. For his legacy, that'd been great. For his bank account, he did exactly what he should have done and was like, all right, I'm just going to dip out on this. I'm going to fight Floyd Mayweather, make $100 million. Because if he became triple champ and fought Woodley, especially at the time, 5-6 mil to do that compared to 100 mil to fight Floyd. So that's the issue.
There's no,
there's just no, but I'm with you as far as legacy and going down as one of the greatest to ever do it and being always mentioned in that, which now he's really not. It should, for his legacy, which if you care about that, it should have been fight 45 pound, 55 and 70. So it's a great point, brother.
Once again, top. Oh, this is kind of a hater comment, but I wanted you to tell your side of this.
Okay. At King-JQ5VT. I like Brendan, but he's not a black belt in BJJ. Yes, I am. Being able to tap black belts with 3 moves you're good at isn't the same as being a black belt. Oh, this guy doesn't know jiu-jitsu. He competed once in BJJ and it was awful. Not true. That's not true. I competed once that you watched on TV. He couldn't tell you how to set up your Keisegatami or your lockdown series or any number of complex black belt setups. He's strong and has a Darsh. Oh, buddy. Oh, sweetie. You don't know jiu-jitsu.
That's why I wanted you to school him.
Yeah, you don't know jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I could submit you with you could tell me what you want me to submit you with. I could do it, Bubba.
And just because you're really good at the Darsh doesn't mean that's the only thing you know how to do.
No.
Yeah. Anyhow. Just top again.
Slowfit9735 fan question. Appreciate the love from the previous episode, fellas. The White House versus MVP on the same platform put you guys in a blender. Here's my next question regarding fighter pay. When it comes to fighter pay, it seems like there's a double-edged sword. On one hand, you want to see the fighters compensated with what they are worth. However, we have seen time and time again what money does for a fighter. Agree. It kills that hunger and drive. Yeah, some of them. You just made that comment about Izzy and Joe Pyfer, saying if Izzy loses, it's whatever because he has money, cars, as opposed to Joe who needs the money, so he wanted it more. Yep. So would paying the fighters, the same as NFL, MLB, etc., kill the sport because fighters wouldn't have the same hunger and drive to be the absolute best? Keep up the great work, fellas. P.S. Let's do a Schaub show RAF. That's not a bad idea. Me versus Nick. Just a couple of short kings with biceps who want to wrestle. Dude, I'd love that. Oh, he is jacked.
Yeah, it's a short
I'd
king.
love to see him slam Nicholas around a little bit. He's talking about Nick Simmons, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the question, right? Because there are guys who get paid and keep up that same hunger and go for greatness, but they're far and few between. Oh, boy. It's a great question. I don't think it's fair to hang that over the fighter's head. It's a good question, but I don't think it's fair to hang it over the fighter's head and be like, we can't pay you because then you guys stop fighting. It's like, well, let's find out. Because I think you are going to have a good amount that, it's not just about money. A good amount, especially in MMA. It's a good question.
But wouldn't also because right now, like you said before, people, if they're great at sports, they want to pick NFL or NBA or baseball because it pays more, right? But if MMA paid the same, wouldn't more people
you're gonna get better athletes involved. But you look at NBA, which is guaranteed money. Dude, go buy a ticket to the Lakers. Let me know if you see LeBron or if you see these guys are sitting out to mental health days, or they're sitting out because their ankle's sore because they've already gotten the money. It's guaranteed money whether they play all 82 games or however many fucking games they play, or if they play 50, they're getting paid the same. So it happens in all aspects of professional sports, but it can't be the reason why you don't pay fighters more. Let's find out. And again, to Chin's point, you're going to bring in better athletes over time.
Yeah, they'd be stoked to be like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And that is literally, when it comes to competition, nothing beats MMA as the upper echelon of the actual competition. Yeah.
The best. _Ryan._.07_. Do you think there are parallels between Joe Pyfer's fight against Izzy and your fight against Crow Cop? Interesting. He's a young, hungry lion who finished a veteran, but was having a very competitive fight before and clearly has stuff to work on. And if he isn't careful, he can run into a Nogueira, like a DDP or Imavov, that can ruin the hype train. Yeah, the problem is, I love the question, dude. The problem is, Ryan, is once you beat a guy of that caliber, there's only one way to go. And that's why the UFC does it. You can't beat, an Izzy or a Crow Cop and then go back to fighting guys outside of that ranking or guys that aren't well known. Once the UFC is giving you that fight because they think you can handle what's next. And sometimes guys aren't always ready. I would say the biggest difference between Joe Pyfer's fight and my fight against Crow Cop and Nogueira is Joe Pyfer respected Izzy. So even though he had some struggle with the leg kicks, and to be fair to Joe too, is if you look at, Izzy's lost 4 out of his last 5, everybody struggles in those first few rounds against Izzy. He does very well in those first 2 rounds. He's a nightmare to handle. He has a lot of traps, setups. I think Poetan said it best. It's like he puts up this smoke screen and you got to figure your way through it. So a lot of guys struggle with that. So I actually think it's a good learning curve for Joe Pyfer, because who he fights next, it's not going to be that complicated as far as on the feet goes. But like I said, the biggest difference is I was young and arrogant and cocky, is where I was like, oh, I'm going to starch Crow Cop in the first round, and I got the fight of my life. I don't think Pyfer thought that. I think Pyfer was like, oh, this is a fight.
Yeah.
And even though I know the first few rounds are going to be tough, I should stick with it, keep doing my thing, eventually get the takedown. His takedown offense is good. He had so much respect for Izzy that, to me, that shows maturity and shows me he's probably ready for whatever's next. And the difference is Izzy throws so much at you that it's very hard to decipher and get through it. And if you do, you're going to have success. So I thought Joe Pyfer looked pretty damn good in that fight. I'd say the difference is seeing how Joe performed in that fight. I think he can do pretty well against a DDP or Imavov. And because he has that level of respect, and I'm sure that was the toughest camp he's ever had, and he improved significantly, which is going to carry over to his next fights. Jack Litz Solar. Oh, long one. Okay. Hey, Brody. Day one supporter here. I saw you at a baseball field in Santa Barbara last year, and you looked yoked as fuck. Thanks, dude. That was my favorite baseball tournament of all time. The tournament they do in July in Santa Barbara. My God, that was so much fun. Yeah. 2 of the best days of my life. All right. You think Stipe and RAF would be fun?
He says, I think you versus Stipe.
Gotcha. Everyone wants to see me against these monsters. I think you versus Stipe and RAF would be fun. How would that go? I also think you'd molly. I also think you'd molly out Brock Lesnar in a fight right now. Yeah, Stipe would be another one I'd be down to do in RAF. But what's in it for Stipe? You know, he wrestled at Cleveland State. He was a Division I wrestler. Stipe versus Kane would probably be a better matchup. But I'd be down. I'd be absolutely down for that. It'd be very tough. Now, if submissions were involved, I think things would go more my way. But straight wrestling, that's those guys' background. I could hold my own, but it's if there's submissions, I would favor myself more in that.
Yeah. So grappling.
Yeah, straight up grappling. I would entertain. Question: the guy sitting next to Chin. The guy sitting next to Chin, talking about Nick Simmons. The guy sitting next to Chin made the most egregious UFC take last episode, which I don't think you caught, and it's been bothering me, dude. He said he doesn't think Mike Perry can hang in the pocket with Nate Diaz. Bruh, can you please address this? Yeah, it's a ridiculous statement. I wish Nick was here. We do the show too early for him. He sleeps in. I wish Nick was here because that is ridiculous. Because if anything, that's literally all Perry thrives in is chaos inside the pocket. So yeah, that is ridiculous. I'm with you, dude. I'm glad you pointed that out, and I will educate Nick next time I see him. Also, did you see, dude, 3-part question here. This is great. Also, did you see Usman's tweet, McGregor versus Usman next? Conor did say he's fighting a no-name inside the top 10 welterweight next. That's when he was going to fight Carlos Prates.
Yeah.
Conor was like, he's a no-namer, but that's off the table. So the no-name stuff, take that out. He's going to get Jorge or Max for sure. You know, the UFC would mark it as Conor coming back facing the greatest welterweight of all time and number 1 contender fight. If Conor somehow won that, you know, they're making Islam versus McGregor for the belt. I don't know about that, dude. Do you think that would be the biggest UFC fight ever? Ooh, depends how Conor looked against Usman. You want Conor to at least get his feet wet. You know, he's been out for a hot second, dude. And to toss him in there with an Usman or a guy who can grapple his ass off is asking for a lot. Listen, let's get him in there. Let's get him a win. Get him a fight he can win, or at least keep it on the feet. A Masvidal would be great. A guy who's also been out for a while. That's what he should do to just get his bearings, and then bring on Usman, and then talk about the Islam fight. But let's just get him in there, get him a win. God knows the UFC needs it. McGregor needs it. We don't need to throw him to the fucking wolves with a guy who can grapple his ass off like Usman. Let's just get him in there, buddy. And let's see how he works, see how he moves. Get him in there with a guy who's also hasn't been there in a while, like a Masvidal, and see how it goes.
I think Masvidal is probably the perfect person for him.
Time. I'll see Masvidal this weekend. You're batshit crazy if you don't think I'm asking.
Hell yeah.
That. Alex Ricard, A Ricard 22.
Is that the one? No, yeah. Yep.
Schaub, huge fan of the show. The humor mixed in with the unapologetic honesty is refreshing when the other analysts won't point out what the UFC fans are seeing. Yeah, maybe. People call me negative. I call it being real. Curious to know, with everything going on in the world today, do you see the UFC expanding fights to new states that they haven't been in a while? I fear they are really going to double down on Apex fights right now. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't see it. I don't see them expanding because they don't need to. That's the problem. You know, you're not going to see them in Montana. You're not going to see them in New Mexico. You're not going to see them in Salt Lake City or Denver. Like, they haven't been to Denver in forever because they don't have to, because they're still checking the box and fulfilling the fight obligations to Paramount by doing it in the Apex. It sucks. But it's business.
Do they do Austin at all?
Yeah, they do Austin. They're coming here, I think, or were they just... They're coming here.
Okay.
Yeah, they're coming here.
Wait, was there a 2-part or was that it?
I think that's it.
Yeah, okay.
Jomo Boxing.
Let me see if that's not... Yep.
All right, you got another long one. All right, I like these. Testing my reading skills here. Okay, what's your opinion on people focusing so heavily on legacy in combat sports? I think Francis' opinion on it's the best. Agree. Come in, get paid, and get out. I see the Mike Tyson, Floyd Mayweather's, Pacquiao's, and the list goes on and on. Makes me mad. Makes me sad for them. Remember, those guys made so much money. So for them, it was legacy and prize fighting. They just made so much money. They just made poor decisions. So there's a little difference there. These guys have a path to set themselves up for lifelong success and comfort, but shoot for flashy, unsustainable lifestyles instead. Yeah, because no one teaches them about it. You know. At some point, you got to be a grown man and take ownership of your finances. But unfortunately, when it comes to pro athletes, you just have people that take advantage of them. What is the cause this, and how can fighters see another path of getting paid and getting out? Longtime listener saw you in Indy in 2019. Hot second go. Saw Eric live last year. Binge Gearhead's Gone Wild and put my buddies onto it. Thank you, sir. We need people to watch it. That sounds dope. Been loving the added content. Seeing y'all thrive in Texas. Keep up the good work. Thanks, man. What is the cause of this? The cause is you don't become a professional football player, basketball player, MLB player, UFC fighter without being a risk taker, but also being laser focused on that task at hand. So when you're that car sounds fantastic outside. If you guys can hear
is so funny. It's perfect.
It sounds fantastic. It drives me nuts, but I'm deleting my fucking Cummins tomorrow, baby. Anyways, I can't wait. Makes me sad. It's so quiet. To your point, you can't be laser focused on your career. That's so impossible to even get your foot in the door. And then also be focused. There's guys that can do it, and kudos to them. But for the majority of them, they're so focused on being great at that sport that the idea of it, where you're going to be at in 5 years, in 10 years, in 15 years, if you're fortunate enough to compete that long, they're just trying to get to the next fight, the next game, the next matchup, that they're not thinking about the future. And especially a lot of them make money young, so they don't have families yet. So the idea of not having this income in 5 years and 6 years is unfathomable to them. They're just like, nah, dude, I'm gonna knock this guy out, get the bonus. I'm gonna buy this house. And it's like, right. So let's say you buy a $3 million house. Can you afford that $18,000 a month? Remember, it's a 30-year mortgage. How long are you gonna fight for, Bubba? Or how long are you gonna play basketball for? Or how long you play football for? Is 30 years? No, that's not real. Let's look at the average career. Okay, in the NFL it's 3.5, MLB it's 2, in the UFC it's 1.5 years. So you got to make these smart decisions. So you need someone in your corner that's actually looking out for this stuff. So when you get let's say Conor Ben, just use him for example, because we all know his salary for this one fight, $15 million. Right, cool, made a ton of money. Conor Ben, do you think in 5 years you're still going to be making $15 million? God willing, hopefully. And he goes, yeah, I'm buying the house for $15 million. Hold on, young man. You don't have $15 million. You got to pay taxes. You got to pay your managers who negotiated the deal. So that's, good amount. You probably have 10 mil, let's say. Now you want to buy a $10 million house. Okay. You just need someone to break down everything that goes into it, the property taxes. It's just not one and done. So the issue is even in school, even people non-professional sports, when you were going through school, did they teach you about taxes and savings and interest and credit cards and loans and leases? No. It's designed that way. It's designed that way so you get in debt. So you're always owing these banks and the government and taxes. It's designed this way. They don't want you to figure out the game. I know it sounds like a conspiracy, but buddy, we can get that another time. I'm just saying there's no one educating these young kids in America, and especially when they get to being professional athletes, and especially got college athletes making 6-7 figures now. There's nobody educating them on how to wisely invest and spend their money and make good decisions. Hopefully that answered that. Mm-hmm. This is the last one.
There's one more after this.
Okay. _your_therapist_. Is that a lady?
I think it is, yeah. Yep,
it is. Ooh, it's a lady. Mainly all bros on here. What's up, girl?
Wait, is that,
go up.
They're both. It's kind of cut off here.
All right, go down because we can get the gist of it. When I'm betting on who will win, I place a huge weight on a fighter's confidence. If a big ego is coming off a loss, like a McGregor after Mayweather, I always bet against the big ego who just brought down a peg. This is exactly why I bet against Adesanya with Pyfer. Sorry. No worries, girl. I'm a Izzy fan. And against Chase Hooper, who looked downright scared in his fighter photo. Who I won both bets, smiley face. Any thoughts on fighter confidence or a guy on a losing streak getting over that pressure, the blow to their confidence, etc.? Yeah, this is a great point. Great point. Yeah, it's tough, right? Because when you see Izzy and his confidence, a lot of us might look at it and go, oh my God, this guy's whatever, 3 out of 4 losses, 4 out of 5 losses. How's he find the confidence? And if you've been a fan for a while, you can tell it's not real. That's him telling himself or his team selling him how great he is, and it's not real. And usually, if there's such a confidence, such an ego, such an arrogance, that means that he's not dotting his I's, crossing his T's in training camp, and that means he's not making the adjustments, which is the reason he lost the fight prior, and he's gonna make the same mistakes in this current fight, and you probably should bet against him. So it's a great point. It's an absolute great point. And you'll see a lot of guys, they'll be on a losing streak, and then they change weight classes. And they're like, man, now I went up a weight class, went down a weight class, and they have all this confidence, like, yeah, cool, but you're still the same guy that's lost 4 out of 5. So to your point, it's smart to bet on those guys. Or I'm sorry, bet against them. You're spot on. Spot on. It's tough to tell, but you're spot on.
Yeah, so she's a female and a psychologist.
Love it. Smart. Mm-hmm. Gabriel _ B City. Big fan of your shows from Ireland. Hopefully that my question makes sense. Nate Diaz claims UFC offered him more money than Netflix, but he turned it down as he doesn't want to be Conor's comeback story. Do you think he's gambling on him beating Mike Perry, Conor winning his upcoming fight, and then both coming off wins, have the trilogy fight in the UFC for even more money, like in November at Madison Square Garden, for example? Couldn't agree more. I do think that's what he's banking on. I think somehow Conor's team and Nate Diaz's team were both like, yo, they're offering us this now. And they're both like, hey, let's both get a win and build this thing up even more. Because if Conor wins, especially if Nate wins being outside of the UFC in the contract, now we can get more money and garner more eyeballs and get more attention for this. I think it's brilliant. I do think that's why Nate's taking this Mike Perry fight. I do think it's why Conor's probably fighting Masvidal. It's brilliant. And they're playing chess when everybody else is playing checkers. It's brilliant. And they're going to make more money than God. Is that it, Chin?
That's it.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, do all things. Put all your questions. Listen, I got to do the show that comes out Friday. I got to do it on Wednesday because I'm leaving for the DR on Thursday. So send your fan questions in this episode, the comments below. Send your fan questions there. I'm going to be answering a ton of them. I got a long Wednesday now because I got to fit 1 day of content, which basically should have been spent on 3 days. All good. So just submit your fan questions down below. Also, I'll put on my Instagram story. You can submit there as well. Again, enjoy the weekend. You got great fights on Friday, Gamebred FC. You got the heavyweight tournament going on. You got Fury fighting on Netflix. And then you got UFC 327, which is fucking fantastic. Card of the year so far on paper. Let's see how it unfolds. But I'll be back for a show for you guys on Friday. I'll be answering all your fan questions. Submit them in the comments below. Love you guys. That's it. I'm out.